internet, social media platform, podcasting, they will be more than happy to help you with that. Just call that phone number that you see across the screen, that 954 number, and let them, and any of the representatives there will be more than happy to assist you. Now, last time we talked, we were talking about how, men are being put on child support for what I think are some of the redundant reasons. And we kind of brushed on, why I feel that way. And, a few people kind of disagree with my position. So we figured we should take the conversation a little further back and talk about, well, are you dating a man or a boy? Like, are you raising your boyfriend to be the man you want to be? Or have you already found Mr. Right and you really the little girl in the game?
Right.
What's going on?
That is definitely an issue or a topic that we need to address. One thing that I think that we need to touch on is how we as women, I can only speak for myself,
Oh,
how I was raised to be accommodating, and I've noticed that over the years, even with my relationship with my children, I tend to enable my son, you know, give him, how do I want to say this? Give him passes on things that he needs to, be, that he needs to take care of. He needs to be responsible with. But with my daughter, I'm more aggressive about how she handles, different things and topics because she is, a woman.
I mean, I can understand that because that's what you know. You know how to be a female. Like, of course, when you see another female going a, a certain way, it only makes sense to, especially if it's your daughter, a family member, someone you see that's going astray, you want to make sure that you kind of want to steer them right. And it comes from a place of love and concern and wisdom, I'm sure, you know. So my thing is, that's the same thing with my daughter. I don't have a son. So, and I would still understand the difference because I have a godson. When my daughter was coming up, I personally do not and have not cared how she plays with my lipstick. I mean, why not? She's a girl. I could care
Right.
less. I got it. She see me do it. We have bathed together. We recognize that I have or she will have what mommy has, you know.
Right.
So it's fine. What I when I ask about, certain things, it's like, okay, when it as a general human being, first of all, I teach my child overall things. Stay clean, have respect for yourself, get a good education, um, keep the faith, keep hope alive, pray, the basic things that you would hope in general, every human being would know. But oh, but as we have learned with our friends and loved ones and people who we cohabitate with,
Right.
we're not the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's okay. For example, I understand that in most homes you have the male, of course, that's more responsible for taking out the trash. You know,
Right.
we, we encourage that. And it's 2020. we're into more like social media dating. Something I'm gonna be honest with you kind of scares me. It's so
Right.
many horror stories, but now it's like we're in this situation where it's like that's like the only way now you're gonna meet people. So this is a good reason to kind of cover this topic. And I'm going to kind of talk to you about the good old days when we didn't have social media and Facebook and MySpace and Instagram, and we had instant grits, but Instagram, that's y'all shit.
Right.
So us old women, you see, I got a shawl on. Y'all around here with what, parkers and carrying on. I'm baby. Eyes don't have time for all that, but I's gonna tell you what I learned after my freedom. Okay, baby. Is you with me? You with me,
Yes.
Bree?
Yes, I'm with you, girl.
All right now. Now, what makes me a woman versus being a little girl? I'm going to address that first. I know my phone falling. I haven't mastered that yet. Moving forward, I have understanding. I pay bills. I have a child I'm responsible for, and I do tend to those responsibilities. Yes, I acknowledge my help along the way.
Right.
Um, I I'm not going to sit here and say I do it all by myself. No, I don't think no one does things all by themselves, because even a business can't function without the customers. Okay.
Right.
We don't do it all by ourselves, but I get what you mean by independent. I
Hmm.
have been independent before, and I have been a dependent as an adult. I have
Right.
had situations that have challenged my womanhood, and I can wear the crown woman because I rose above it. It
Right.
showed me more of my strength because I took on the challenge. There have been times I've cowered from situations, and again, learning from them, growth from them, acceptance of them, thankful of them, and moving forward from them. I think that that's what made me a woman in my 40s. I can look myself in the mirror and be thankful of all things considered that I just mentioned, and still walk around and speak to people, be nice, be courteous. My personal problems are not your problems unless we cross paths in a wrong light. And we don't want them problems. It's never going to be good. But moving forward, I mean, the obvious things, don't disrespect me, don't disrespect my child. But again, we all don't seem to understand the same things. So,
Exactly.
that's my opinion of what when I sit back and say, okay, I'm a woman, what do I think a man should be? But what is your opinion of, what you see as woman versus a little girl?
Okay, so um and I would say that I hold a mirror to my face or to my conscience every day about, how I approach the world. Um for me, being a woman is being cognizant of your actions, not not just actions that you take toward other people, but also toward yourself.
Mhm.
Um, I would have to say, being a woman, I'm learning, and it's a process. I'm learning that enabling people, or being a people pleaser is not always, um, a good role to carry,
Mhm.
because you're not, or I've always kind of been a people pleaser, wanting people to be happy. And I know that it has a lot to do with the way that my grandmother raised me. So I'm holding myself accountable to not always put others before me,
Mhm.
because I am the most important in this equation.
Mm.
Um, Being responsible for the things that I say, being responsible for myself, self care is really really important. But also, um, being able to admit when I'm wrong is a good is how you realize that you are a full grown woman, you know? Allowing to no, not only that, but being accountable, being accountable for your actions, and allowing people to call you out on your shit, and you not and you not go crazy because they hit that button. You know what I'm saying? Like they said some shit that you really didn't want to, you didn't want to hear that shit. Like I have learned that just because someone calls me out on my shit, it's like I want to go crazy, bitch, what the fuck? But now I'm in a place where, okay, so you call me out on my shit. And if I was wrong, or if I have stepped out of bounds, thank you for being a friend to let me
Mm.
know what I did so that I can correct, stay in my fucking lane and do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel a woman is.
I
Now, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
I totally agree. And it's so funny you say that because it's like, remember when we went to the comedy show that night and how dude did that on the microphone? It was like you said, you could have just pulled me to the side, friend, and told me this, why you had to get on the mic. And that's how and sometimes when we're in personal conversations, it's very similar to this situation I'm speaking about. What happened at this comedy show we went to is it was a comedy show. The comedians were telling jokes. Nothing weird about that at all.
Ta-da!
It was not like, you know what I'm saying, you seen some goddamn alien coughing up a newborn human baby. No, it was a comedian telling jokes. And the host, who knows these people, from my understanding on a personal level, got offended and called him out on his shit about, addressing him and the jokes he was saying and who he is as a person. And that's what we tend to do in personal conversations. And just like Bree is saying, when someone does that, how you handle it and how the comedian handled it is pretty much what you're saying. He he was not offended. He did not feed into it. He actually tried his best, to give him his 5 minutes. It literally lasted about 5 minutes of him ranting about
Yeah,
what the
it was
community
an actual rant, and we sat up there looking like we like what, like he was eh, like a metamorphosis, something out of Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, he was the host. He had us going. The comedians were funny, and here this came out of nowhere. you know so when people call you out on your stuff and that, and what makes me a woman, because I can definitely agree with that. Just like I have admitted, you have a lot of women who've had abortions. they won't admit that because of the shame that comes with it. A lot of people who are in the closet with their sexuality is because of the shame and, you know, the microphone moment that comes with it, and how people you're wrongdoing as if you didn't already have to. A moral person, a person of morals will acknowledge when they're wrong before they're even confronted by the victim they wrong.
Right.
Okay. And when you are an adult, whether you are a man or a woman, I really think that's one of the hardest things, next to, like, you got, it's like if you lied to a person, to come back and tell them you lied, it's gonna hurt, and I'm telling you it will hurt, because I know what it means to lie. I've lied before. The rent is in the mail. Child, ain't no goddamn rent in the mail. I got fired from my job 2 weeks ago. I'm working on it. But in the meantime, it's in the mail, you know, and we all think these are little white lies, but at the end of the day, if you could tell these little lies, you are a liar. You have lied, okay? You know, and when you woman up or man up and admit it, you know, you are crossing over and out, you're crossing a lot of boundaries, and you have to experience it to know what it's like. It's a very weird feeling to go back and admit, you know, hey, listen, I thought about what you said, and I see where I was wrong in that situation. I didn't see it from your point of view. Or, you know, you right, I was wrong for saying or doing or whatever I did. Or yeah, I did that, and the and what attitude, but you know, as a friend, if you come to a person in a certain manner, you all can, if you're willing to talk about it, it's fine. I've also learned that what you can't do is you can't go by how people approach you with those kind of things. Like I'm saying, let's take the situation at the comedy show that we're talking about. Okay, if the host who was being roasted by a comedian felt offended, you are an adult. You could have not addressed that in front of the whole crowd. If I did something to my personal friends or associates, even my coworkers, I don't mind you coming to me, telling me what I did wrong. But when you put me in a place where you're trying to embarrass me, you know, I remember I had a coworker one time. I felt so sorry for her. She's being nice to this girl. She's driving to and from work, and she was in the bathroom kind of crying her eyes out. And she just asked me, she was like, well, what would you do if um if somebody said, oh, you need to go change that sagging pad that you got on, because you know the girl, yeah, her period was on. I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Well, first she asked me, she said, can you really see my pad from the back? I was like, no. She was like, why would she say that? Why would she say it? And I was like, well, what happened? She was like, what would you do if somebody said, you know, you need to go change that sagging pamper or pad you got on, and you're at a place of business in front of coworkers, and you're doing it to be funny. And we're supposed to be like women of eight. Like, for the simple fact you got a job, apparently you got a pad because you're a woman of age who's experiencing those problems. And then to turn around and find out that this is a young lady she transports to and back from work. Hold up, bitch, who you think you trying to clown on? You know, and
Yeah.
it's so sad that people, that's my point. I had to learn that's another thing, and it's not just her situation. I can't think of one off the bat from me personally. You know what I'm saying? So what the young lady had decided to do was, she said she took her home and she just explained to her how she made her feel, and told her, she said, but at this time you're gonna have to find you another way home to and from work. And I appreciate her being a stand-up person. You know, she said she still took her home that same afternoon, and she just had a nice conversation with her all the way home, and you know, never looked back from that. And you know, hey, when you come certain ways trying to call them out on certain things, you really don't know what they're going through. You only know what people tell you.
Right.
You know, you cannot address people in that flamboyant manner and think that it's going to work in your favor. Like, you know, and then on top of that, when people do that, you can't be a coward and not deal with it, but you have to be the bigger person. You have to
Right.
learn how to be the bigger person in a childish situation. And and then when it comes to kids, I'm gonna tell you another thing that absolutely makes me a grown woman. I've been around kids more than 10 years before I even had my daughter. Something I recommend to anybody, which is why I honestly think that all young girls should get into certain classes or certain certifications, such as like daycare, especially when you know you are a woman. Instead of going out here actually starting having babies, maybe you want to get into like some baby classes like daycare classes, trainings, so you can have these kind of trainings so you'll know how far it is you're going to deal with kids instead of finding out 6, 7 kids later you can't do it and then your kids being taken from you. But that's another story. Y'all know where I be going sometimes. But another thing that I say makes me an adult is when I see a child, I mean, anything that looks like a baby face or the conversation just is not within my age range. Like I always, when I see a rapist, let's just go on and put that out there. Rapists, pedophiles, I never understand you. I never will understand you. And there are men and women, rapists and pedophiles out there. What I say that when I say I never understand you is because of this. I'm an adult. I take full responsibility for my actions. I don't care if a child strips butt naked in front of me with the biggest eggplant and the best eggplant I know God made for me. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna string his ass up and beat his ass and probably ask him where your pappy is, since that's where you got it from. But what I'm not gonna do is be the adult and take advantage of that child when they're being a child. Children
Right.
try you. And if you ever have been around children, you know this. They do these things just to see what you're going to do, to push your limits.
Right.
They don't know they're children. They have no limits. Don't you see them when they fight and they sleep? They don't want to miss nothing. You know, these are all things that I'm saying. Like a lot of adults don't seem to understand about your boundaries and what makes you a full-grown woman and a full-grown man.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. So, like, have you ever been in a relationship, with a man that you feel like um you were trying to protect him
Yeah.
or you were trying to take care of him?
Hmm. We'll talk about that though. Let's That's a good one. We'll pick up from there. Let's take a quick commercial though. Get myself together.
It's Urban Country Morning.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, let's go.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just come before you.
No, it doesn't have to be a caring hand. It just has to feel like a caring hand.
Bruh.
Are we making masculinity out to be a bad thing then?
All in your life.
What's most important to the child is they have the right to have both parents in their life.
Exactly.
Florida.
I just wanted to chime in on the topic.
I'm watching your program here, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we are all the way live right now.
Shout out to our entertainment man. Red Thomas is in the building later on.
Parents simply putting the child's best interest at first.
Hello, you're live.
So
This is amazing. This
Yeah,
is
one more take for the shameless self-promotion. Hit up urbancountryfilms.com, BUhosting.com.
Come by with us as you shit, shower, and shave. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Urban Country Mornings.
all right. And welcome back to 4eNRGy.com, where we bring you nothing but positive love and energy. with my lovely co-host, Bree. Now, Bree, you was asking me a question before we went to break, darling. Maybe I'm trying to avoid it, or maybe I misheard you. What was that again?
Okay, so I was asking, have you ever been in a situation where you kind of took care of the man that you were involved with? You know, like you kind of protected him or did things for him that he could have done for himself, but you kind of felt like, you know, since you want to be that Wonder Woman in his life, you're gonna take care of it for him. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about. I told y'all I had allergies. And I'm allergic to this bullshit. But I'm gonna wipe my nose because I'm a grown woman. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that? Okay. She wanna get in my business. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even gonna hit the joint. But since you gonna do it all like that. So what had happened was, as I told you, I had been in an abusive relationship.
Right.
And basically, I'm gonna be honest with you, that situation was never supposed to really happen. Like I said, I don't know what happens. I get these men that just will not let me go. That's why I just like completely stopped dating. And what happened with the abusive relationship, honestly, when I met him, I knew within about 2 weeks, you know what? I want to give him some. I do. Yeah, I want to give him some. I don't even want no more date. I don't want nothing. I just could tell this gonna be
Bam. Ride the baloney pony.
it. And what happened is, some time later we finally got down to it. And it was like, it was weird how we got down to it. Because honestly, I kind of noticed that, you know what, I just want to give it to him and go at this point. You know what I'm saying? It went from I want to give it to him to I want to give it to him and go. And then, it went to, he became very possessive, blah, blah, blah. And then the point is, I should have kind of picked up on the signs, but I've never been in an abusive or a controlling situation before. So I didn't understand where a lot of it was going. The point is, when we first met, there was the illusion that he had a home, he had a car, he had this, he had that. And all of a sudden, the car got missing. It's in the shop. And, problems happen. No, seriously, like I'm telling y'all, these are the signs. The car went to the shop and it never came back.
Right.
The home went under repairs that the landlord never fixed, and rent just stopped getting paid. All of a sudden, your money wasn't coming, and let me borrow your car I'm just going to check on my car, And then I started noticing how this went from I just want to give him some to damn, this nigga just beat my ass. Like,
Wow.
fuck. And and that's how it goes. Like, you have to be a woman that stands your ground, honest to God. That's what I learned about abusive situation. He saw his opportunity to niche in on my weakness. And I don't know when and where and how I showed it, but like I said, I know I made it clear that I wanted to be involved with him, but I think when I started seeing his stuff falling apart at the seams, I didn't want no more than that. And maybe he used the sexual encounter as an opportunity to heighten his need in my life. And I somehow may have took hold of that. The point is, eventually the sex got old, and it was just like I just needed out of this situation, because the first time he hit me, I was headed to an interview that next day. And the situation was so strange how it happened, because I was taking a walk one night, and I guess he came looking for me, and I wasn't there. And when I came back, he wasn't where I left him. Supposedly he was looking for me, and he called my phone, and he just had this real nasty ass attitude. And his attitude just was like, you know what? I was like, this ain't gonna work. This is it. We had been together now like 8 months. By this time, he had already, like, I finally got my own keys to my car, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to lent out my car so much, the gas was going out my car fast, and my weed.
Smoking all your shit up.
Girl, I gotta take a moment of whole silence. Like, when I tell you I should have knew, like, that was the first, bro, bad enough you got my car on E. You smoked all my weed and you ain't got no money to what? Because you waiting on a check to do what?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, this ain't good. You got to go home tonight, because I got to make some shit happen that don't involve you. And he couldn't understand that. Don't worry about it. You, like, dead ass. You got, like, and then of course it was the phone calls. Well, how was your night? Making me feel bad, because I got to do what I got to do to re-up on my shit. I'm not a cheater, but let's just say me and my connect, we got a very good understanding when I'm not involved with somebody. Okay.
Right. Ding.
So
Ding. Yeah.
Plug, come meet your hole in the wall. How you doing? So
How you doing?
How you doing? So, and of course that's even embarrassing, because it's like, okay, I got a nigga. This ain't even how this situation go. But it's just this one time. And then it's like, the constantly. And then it was just like my connect peeped it, and he was just like, yo, this nigga's bad news. So I was like, you know what, you're right. So we stopped for about a month. Little did I know it was because he went to jail, and, he got out. I'm thinking now I'm missing. Oh my God, he's home. Oh. So
Yeah.
now I got some jail deed, and it's like, yay, he been missing me. No, that nigga would have fucked anything. He just got out, but he called you, and you gonna answer your dumb ass moving forward. Like everything else I've done up to this point. But honestly, when you're stuck in a state of mind of stupidity, and not, not listening to yourself, you let it go on and on until you get to a point where, like you said, your womanhood has pretty much been taken from you. Now you are somebody's little girl. You go to school and you come home. But now that you are an adult, you go to work and you come home. And I was just like, we're not doing this. I'll never forget, he had a machete to my neck, and he told me, he said, now call your mom and tell her you're not coming home. And that's what I did. I told my mom, of course, before I even make it to a goddamn interview, like, nigga, you ain't working. I done lost my job because of him. Oh yeah, girl, he got, ooh, girl, that nigga used to come to my job and act ignorant. Security came holding. Oh God, all the signs was right there. They was right there. But you know, I went through it, and that was the last time I said I'd be in a relationship. Because apparently, I just don't, you know, I went from 13 years, it wasn't abusive, but he was a cheater, to a guy who loved me so much, he gonna whoop my ass. I don't have good choice in me. And my baby daddy, like I said, he's, you know, over there. We're not doing this. I can't speak for your ass, Peach, but this one, she struck out, period. Next case, how you doing, ma'am?
I think, I mean, like, you know, we talk about, is, you know, is he your spouse or are you his mother? So I I know that so many times in my marriage, you know, I stood in the trenches for this dude that I supposedly loved and who was the father of my children, and I was going to stand behind him. You know what I'm saying? Instead of allowing him to go through. Okay, let me say this differently. Picture this. Um, the lights are about to get turned off, right? You at your house and the lights about to get turned off. And there's a $300 light bill on the table. It's your man's responsibility to take care of this because that's a part of his job, his responsibility, what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice that the bill says your service is going to be interrupted by 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know your shit about to get cut off. But because you got them kids at the house and you already done had this conversation with him about him taking care of his responsibility, and he shrug it off like, I got it, I'm gonna take care of it. But he still ain't did it yet.
And the lights get cut off.
No. Lights ain't gonna get cut off because Big Mama gonna pay that bill.
Yeah.
Big Mama gonna take her last to pay that bill. Now, me being that kind of person, take it running the gamut, running the ball, you know, to make sure that me and my kids aren't in the dark. But that took away from what he was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I was supposed to allow it to happen. And then when it happened, I was supposed to pack up my kid and go to my parents' house or go to my friend's house and let him deal with the consequences. You know what I'm saying? That is what you're supposed to do. Allow the man to step up and take care of his responsibility, whatever the consequences. Because ultimately, I blocked him from having a consequence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's why you see my first choice was the lights went off, because that's what I probably would have did. You know, in the situation where I was in, I'm not gonna lie. What happened was, it's like when my weed, my gas, and you know, I'm going back to living from check to check. It's like I don't even have any extra money to buy. It's like I literally got another kid, and I was just like, no, like this was too much. And then by then, you know what I'm saying? Like I was already kind of like stuck in this situation. Like he literally was your typical one. He had nothing, but he,
Fucking vampire.
yeah, yes, like he
Draining your
presented himself as though he had something. Within 3 months, it all of a sudden was nothing and all my responsibility. So I used to bitch at him. You know, you need to get a job. He had a job for like about 4 weeks. He said it was a temp job and they ended up quitting, or the job ended. Okay, I understood that. I bitched at him some more. Oh, he was going back to school. That's why he needed my car. Come to find out the motherfucker was not going back no damn school. Bitched at him some more. So, you know, I was bitching at him. I was being a bitch about it, because at the same time, if you in my ear wanting me to be there for you or be that woman for you, or be your girlfriend when I really do not want to, I want us to just kind of, you know, keep it in a certain situation until I figure out what the fuck you going through. But you knew you wasn't shit. You knew, like you knew you was trying to pull away, and in essence, you was beating my ass, because just like you said, I put your ass on the microphone. Fuck nigga, you ain't got shit, and you ain't gonna have me when you ain't got shit. I ain't finna sit here with you with your broke ass. I'm not doing this with you. You ain't finna get on no motherfucking microphone and say, I wanna give a shout out. No, fuck your shout out, pussy nigga, I'm gone. Pieces. But he wouldn't let me leave. He wouldn't let me
Okay,
leave.
let me interpret that whole scenario that you gave me. Okay, so what had happened is, you met old boy, you decided, hey, I want to kick it with him. You know, let me see, let me get a little taste test, see how this play out. Um, you got y'all hooked up.
It was
Then was good, and then he became a Klingon. You know, he was clean, and he was clean. He was like, and then he put his fangs in you. He was like, ah. He put his fangs in you and would not let you go. Is what happened, and he was draining your life force. How many times have we met dudes that just drain our life force, and they have the audacity to expect that you stay with them through all this bullshit when they don't plan on doing anything different? You know, and I'm gonna tell you something else. Let me tell you one more other thing, and then you can have the micro. These kind of dudes, mama and cousin, they be so fucking happy to see you.
Oh my
They
God.
be ecstatic to see you. You know why? Because you taking that Klingon out they fucking life.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You are
Yes.
taking that fucking Klingon out
I
they
have
life.
learned. I have learned. That's what I learned, girl. Because when I tell you, he used to tell me this all the time. Oh, my sister asked about you. My mom asked about you. I should have knew something was up when the nigga wanted me to meet his mom within like after we fucked twice. He like, I want you to meet my mom. I'm like, God damn, I must got that. Woo! Like, nigga, it's bad enough we skipped the 90-day rule, but then you want me to meet your mama? Like, mama was all like, I'm cooking dinner, bitch. He invited friends. Like, bitch, I felt like, bitch, we finna get married. Like,
Yeah, see?
but I
She was
forgot,
trying to ship his ass out.
girl,
She
but
was
I
packing his
forgot.
shit.
Girl, I forgot. I want you to get married. I came here to meet you in the bathroom. What the fuck is we doing?
Right.
But
You
the
just
thing
trying
about
to
it is,
pussy.
but before him, I'm gonna tell you. So before the abusive situation, I've had your traditional man, and I'm gonna tell you, like, again, the type of dudes I attract, which is how I got my baby daddy. Okay, so like I said, I was in the 13-year relationship. Technically, it was about 17 years, but we was on and off from for about 17 years. I've been knowing him since I was 15. And when I came back from college around 2021, we was that, just link up situation. He was, a successful person in his position. I was a successful person in my position. And it just, as we were catching up between time, we didn't look at it as nothing serious for 5 good years. Okay. Next thing it was so comfortable between him and I. As he would go through growth in life, and I was going through growth because I was going to school and working. He was just working and working on some trades and, working on self-improvements. But, he had this, like I say, he was a cheater. He would, incidentally me give him his phone number. They go out to eat. Oops, slipped, fell on his dick. And, because you got to understand, I say that because we've been knowing each other since 15. So our conversations are literally like how I would have with Bree. You're like talking to a friend, and he has no regard to the fact that I'm his woman. I didn't care because, again, I was working 3 jobs. I was working. He literally was just something on the side, and it worked out for me. We were safe. It was fun. But what happened is he didn't tell me that he was about to be engaged. So when I moved, yes. So when I moved to my apartment out of my mom's house, it was the funniest thing ever because he knew I was trying to move. And I couldn't understand why we couldn't move together after we, been active for 5 years. But I knew I wanted to ask him, but I knew I didn't want to move on it. And the way he was acting on it approved it. Moving forward, I got my apartment and I didn't hear from him. Talked to his brother, boom, found out, he was with a girlfriend that he taken very seriously and, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, well, he could have just said so. That explains it. I should have known last time we really had a conversation. Da, da, da. And I took it as, okay, he was embarrassed that he really laid his feelings out on the line to me. And I literally didn't take it as anything. And now I hadn't heard from him. Boom. Moving forward, I was 8 months out of that situation, and then I met my daughter's father. We followed the 90-day rule, but then my daughter's father is very good, again, at being slick, just like most of these street niggas do. Like, that's what they do. They practice their game. So once he hit his 90-day mark, he was like on his P's and Q's. I got pregnant, and 4 months into my pregnancy, I was at the grocery store and I saw my ex of, at that time, maybe 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And no, I wasn't at the grocery store. He called me when I was about 3-4 months pregnant, out the blue, hadn't heard from him. So we was talking on the phone and he asked me to meet him at the park next to that grocery store because he couldn't believe me telling him that I was pregnant. He just was like, what? By now I had already heard that he was going to be married. He was engaged already. And now I've moved on. I'm 4 months, almost almost 4 months pregnant. And he found out I was pregnant. And when he called me that day, I told him that's how he found out. I said, I'm not like you. You're not going to go around hearing about it. I said, I can tell you straight to your face. Yes. And I'll be moving back with my mom because I'm really sick. I'm doing real bad. So we met at the park. He saw I was pregnant. And I'm not going to lie, it blew his mind. Like, he felt like I cheated on him. And I shit you not, if a Black man could turn white, like his world crumbled when he saw me with my little cantaloupe belly and my Respucia titties he was just like, I can't believe this. He was like, oh my God. You know, we was together for 5, 6 years. I said, oh my God, in 5, 6 of them years, how many of them years were you faithful to me? I said, we weren't in a relationship. And you knew I was moving out with my mom, moving out of my mom's house. I said, you ain't say shit. You just stopped talking to me. I said, and then when I found out, I said, I guess you sent your brother to tell me what I'm supposed to. I said, I thought we was done. I don't know what you know what I'm saying? Like, he was devastated. He was devastated. Like, I cannot believe it. I cannot understand it. And he was a good gentleman. You know, of course, when we were out together, you know, open doors, paid for this. You know, if I need anything, he was there. He had no obligations to me, but he was always doing really nice gestures and just, you know, the sweetest thing about the whole thing is, remember, I've been knowing my ex of 13 years since I was 15. He still has my high school picture that I gave him. Yes. So you got to understand, I've been loved, if you want to call it that. But he was just he cannot keep his dick in his pants. Like, and I'm sorry to say it, but at the same time, that's why I've come to the realization that I don't mind being in a polygamous situation, but they have to be making 6 figures or more. That's the only way. That's the only way I will be. And I mean, because why not? That's the only thing I don't have. I apparently do not have a 6-figure mindset as of yet. So if I am going to put that, if I'm going to be in another relationship, it has to work for the both of it has to work for us all. I don't mind it being in a polygamous relationship, but I my worth in the meantime and in the between time, and I'm bringing y'all with me. You know what I'm saying? But trust me, you got to trust. Don't trust me. Trust the process.
Right.
You know, if you know what type of woman, what type of man you are, it's not hard to understand. A polygamous situation is, I mean, come on. If you mean to tell me, honest to God, Bree, answer this. If a couple came to you, they're making 6 figures. They want to adopt your children as adults. That means they'll inherit, you know what I'm saying, everything that they do. Would you not put your skills to work in that relationship? From the bedroom to the books in the library.
Hold on. Are you saying that I gotta sleep with them?
Nigga, yeah.
Um,
You think that man ain't gonna want some of that Brie pop?
oh my goodness.
Girl, you got
I
nerves.
okay, so like I can't do it. I mean, I'm gonna talk a good talk and try to get them to steal, like Lionel Richie and the Commodores, steal. I'm gonna I'm gonna see if they will still adopt, my kids or give them an inheritance. But like me being in the middle, trying to give them some of this, brie pop, no, no, no. It's not gonna be a good look. Us Virgos are very first of all, sexually we're like predators. So, you
Exactly.
know,
More meat
wow.
to eat. More meat to eat.
So this definitely, and his wife gonna get upset because he gonna be like, Bree, what's up? What's up? Um, look, my wife, she gone out of town. You gonna be able to slide through so we can bound to bound, bound, bound. I can't. You know what I'm saying? We're breaking
No,
some
Bree.
boundaries and some
You're
rules.
looking at it all wrong. I don't see it like that. Again, we just discussing the different types of women. You're a woman that would not go for a polygamous situation. You also got 2 kids. I got 1 because I made a decision about my other one. So let's go ahead and dive into my difference on that. Now, what I see in a polygamous situation is you can either do A, B, C, or D. It is him, her, them, or none. Okay? Now that's your nighttime affairs. That's because you're gonna be enjoying.
Let me cut you off. Cause you don't gave this too much fucking thought. You know what I'm saying? You
Yes, yes, I
have
have.
really given this a whole lot of thought.
So we can talk about that next week then. You right, because you know I'll go there for another 30 minutes.
Wow. Girl, well,
But
this was definitely a very good and enlightening show we had tonight. I
yeah,
definitely appreciate you. Every conversation that we have and our listeners, I really appreciate, the people that take the time to comment and like and share. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed. And I think that's our time now. What you think?
yes. We might pick up what we left off at next Wednesday. That might be a good idea. But for right now, we'll see you all Sunday at 7:00 p.m. Don't forget. All right, 4eNRGy.com. You all
Country
have a
morning.
great and wonderful evening.
Early in the morning. Let's go.
Dear
Good
Heavenly
night, guys.
Father, I just come before you.
No, it can't. It doesn't have to be a caring hand. It just has to feel like a caring hand.
Bruh.
Are we making masculinity out to be a bad thing then?
All of your life. That's most important to the child is they have the right to have both parents in their life.
Exactly.
Florida.
I just want to chime in on the topic.
I'm watching your program here, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we are all the way live right now. Shout out to our entertainment man. Greg Thomas is in the building later on.
Parents simply putting the child's best interest at first.
Hello, you're live.
So
This is amazing. This
Yeah,
is
one more tape for the shameless self-promotion. Hit up urbancountryfilms.com, euhosting.com.
Come by with us as you shit, shower, and shave. Monday through Friday, 7
Your eyes
a.m.
gonna get
to 9
stuck
a.m.
like that.
Eastern Standard
they
Time.
already was.
Urban
Can't you
Country
tell?
Mornings.
Thank God for glasses. My mama got my shit corrected. I ain't one of them no more.